Okay, thank you. Well, I'm really glad to be here. As you say, good morning, good afternoon, good evening for every of you in the world. Well, let's talk about this talk, and I'm gonna first I'm gonna talk about a little bit of me. Well, Tim talk about it, but well, I'm a systems engineer. My profession, I studied systems engineer. I've been some years in the field. I've been making some talks for some time now and working in different companies. But one thing I like that I love about the work is that I had the opportunity to work as a architecture manager, an auditor, an audited, karma exists, pen tester as a part of the pen tester team, and leading some red teams also, some research, and that gives me, I believe, different points of view about what we do in the daily work in security, and that's something I really try to get the most of that vision. I will share a little bit. Well, this is the agenda. First, some background, how this talk started, in some basic theory, probably the one that you have already seen, SQL injection and blind. Maybe you say, okay, more of the same, but I believe it's important that all are that we all are in the same level of knowledge. And then we go to see some lab and see some scripts I developed for making this blind SQL injection using binary search algorithm, and some extras on some other methods that exist in the wild, and some conclusions and talks. Well, I hope that the time will be enough. Well, first, a big disclaimer. Excuse my pronunciation. As I say, English is not my native language, but I will do my best. Well, this talk appears when I was making some labs. I was studying, I was practicing, and I was making some blind SQL injection attacks, but I was not using tools. I was not using SQL map. I was using Python and making my own scripts. That was part of the training. But the thing was that I was connecting through a VPN, through a server. The line was not so fast, and it took a lot of time to make the blind SQL injection, because you go one and letter by letter, asking if it's the A, it's the B, it's the C, it's the D, and when you find it, you go on. And was really slow, and I had to make a lot of tests, try and error. And I was thinking, how could I improve, be more efficient? And that's why the idea I had to try this thing. So well, first some theory, as I said. SQL injection probably is a really old exploitation technique, but it's still fun in some applications. It's crazy when you tell about SQL injection. Oh, that's old. That's really old. I remember chats or talks, I don't know, 205, 200, that you were always had the SQL injection and still is in the OWASP top 10. Well, now it's not in the first, it's in the third place in the 2021, but it's still appearing. And as you can see, it consists in injecting SQL code in this case, or some logic into some input variable to obtain access to the database, and sometimes compromise the entire system, not only get some information. And one of the first causes is the lack of controls that filter the input. If you put some data and that data is not filtered, probably you could insert or inject some commands or some data that could affect the query you are making. in the process. And it works in the application layer, so solutions that work in inferior layers will not protect in your infrastructure. What I'm talking about, a firewall works in layer 3 and 4. It's port origin and destiny, it's IP origin and destiny. That won't work with a SQL injection as a control or as a protection. If I go, well, I use in the lab the DAM vulnerability web application, and this is the SQL injection part. And it's, if you see the code, you could see in this zone that there is an ID. This ID, it's what we are going to put in the user ID box, and we will submit. What will happen that that data will go directly to a query, and that's what we are going to inject because there is no limit. And I will go to some I don't know, it's the first thing you learn when you do SQL injection. Okay, you put apostrophe or one dash dash, and the list will become a comment. And what happened? You get the data, and that's it. Sorry for the spoiler for the one who haven't entered to the SQL injection part, and that's it. It's really simple. If you go to blind, it's a vulnerability that's still found in the OWASP top 10 21 in the third position right now. It's a type of SQL injection attack, but you ask the database for a true or a false answer. You ask for a closed answer and determine, and you try to determine based of the answer what it's the character or the data you are asking for. I will explain it in a moment. It's a very cumbersome and slow technique. It's inevitable for the way we are going to extract information, and it's really common to use some automated tools. It's really common to use SQL map, but something that happens when you start to working with some complex applications, that SQL map maybe won't work. So you will have to go to to work with the nails, to work with the hands, and make some custom adaptations, and that's where we are trying to go. In this vulnerability, you will need to protect not only the input that you are inserting into the application, but also the output you are giving, because that output would give some information to the attacker. And well, if we go to SQL injection, you could find the error base, the blind base, and in the blind base you will find the Boolean and the time base. I will work with the Boolean principle in this lab that I'm going to talk about it. Well, if we talk about SQL injection, if you in the blind SQL injection and in the challenge you have in the DAM vulnerability web application, you see that there is a message that it's appearing. The user ID is missing from the database. Yeah, that's information for us. If you see here, the data, it's going, sorry, the data is going through the query, but in the bottom part, you see that the user is missing from the database, appears as one response. The ID is missing from the database, but also there is another message that talks about the user ID exists in the database. So could be interesting to go through that way, and that's the way we are going to work in the script. Well, the binary search algorithm is an efficient algorithm for finding an item from a certain list of items, consisting repeatedly dividing the half portion of the list that could contain the item until you narrow down to one position. It's common, includes a section of it's commonly included as a section in many programming courses. Probably if you have studied, I don't know, Python or C or Pascal or any language, probably you will pass through the binary search, as you probably pass as the Tower of Hanoi challenge and make some program to automate that kind of work. If you don't remember the Tower of Hanoi, I show you them. And the binary search goes like this. You have an order list of items you want to search. In that search, we are going to go, in the first line, we are going to go for the 6, and we go to the middle one. And we ask the middle one, it's greater than or lower than. Depending on the answer, we will go to the middle and go for the space where the data we are asking for is or not, and then we will find a new middle space, and from that we will go on the times that we that be necessary to get the correct data. But let's go to a lab. Okay, this lab, I don't like this lab because it remembers coronavirus, and I prefer this lab, but this is not true. This is the lab probably that we will have more or less in real life, and so on. What I have in my lab? It's really simple. I'm in a Mac. In the Mac, I have a virtual machine. I have a Kali Linux with Python, a Burp Suite, Visual Studio Code. It's the dev I used to use on Firefox. Inside, I load Docker with the non-vulnerability web application that has PHP and MariaDB. It's on MySQL with more improved. It's really interesting. Well, this is my first testing script. I will work with the lab that appears in the vulnerability web application, and I will go for in that way. I want to explain some things in this script. In the first part, from the line 1 to 8, it's data, just the libraries I'm using, the proxy, because I want to go through the to get that the script passed through my Burp application, the cookies, because it was easier to use the cookie that was already in the application than creating a logon session. So I go through that way, and then I make a request function. This request function includes the IP and string query type, an injection string, and a query type. That's the three variables I inject. The first one, the IP, appears here in the line 10, and the injection string. And according if it's the query type true or false, that will give me in the next condition in the 14 through 19 line, you will find the condition of this function. And another thing I include, it's 2 injection strings. One, it's a true injection string, and the other one, it's a false injection string. What I'm doing here, let me go through the lab. Well, we are here. What I'm doing here, it's trying to get from the lab some information. When I do this, when I put the typical SQL injection query, I found that this appears in 2 parts. First, I will go to Burp. I will find that the query was made here. Maybe I'm not sure if you could follow me. You could see that I'm making a request in this line that it's vulnerability, and here appears the code that I'm including in the ID in the source code that I showed you before, and that gives me some response. I'm gonna try for some data that if you see the source code and if it loads, okay, Morphe, here you are. Okay, anyway, we will go for the search. This will put in my query, if everything works. For some reason, what worked all the time start failing right now. Okay, let me see what happened. Okay, we got our response. What I do here is that the query that we have in the source code, I will go here. The query we were, I will go here to this. This is the blind. Okay. What I'm inserting here is that in the ID, I'm asking select first name, last name from users where the ID it's first, it's empty because I close the first apostrophe, and there I ask or A it's equal to A. That's what I'm including in the data. What happens if I put if the user it's empty or A it's equal to B? The response gives us, see, I don't know why it's so slow. I can't understand why the virtual machine is not working. I'm so sorry about this. Let me keep on the track. Well, what I'm doing here is that I'm inserting the true injection string and the false injection string, and then I ask if the true injection strings it's valid. So I could validate the false and the true one. That means that the target is vulnerable. Let me see if I go to a terminal machine and send it to the let me see if this is working or not. The query is being made. The query is not being made. I don't know why it's not working. What is happening here? Something's sorry. I don't know what is happening with my virtual machine. Well, I will go through the PowerPoint. I'm sorry. My machine is really failing right now. Well, what I do is, as I told you, I put both injection strings, the true and the false, and then I include the validation process. What gives me if it's the target it's vulnerable or not. And according to validation arguments, if both, if I could get a true response and a false response in the script, that means that the target is vulnerable. Now I need to go on to sequential blind search. What I'm doing here is that I'm mixing. Well, I'm including here the same search, but I'm making some changes. First, in the request function, I'm asking for the same query, the IP, and the injection string. But you see here, I'm including a for a loop that have a range from 32 to 126. Why I'm using 32 to 126 or 126? It's because I'm using the ASCII table, and from the 32 to the 126 are all the printable characters that I could use in the loop. And now I'm only trying to get the true requests in my queries, and I start in my, this is part of my injection from the 11 to the 20. It's my injection function. And in my main function, what I'm asking is for each of the characters of the query I'm gonna make, that it's, I'm here getting a version of the database. What I'm doing here is trying to get the data of the version, and the substring would give me first the first character, and then the second, and then the third, and so on through the 20 character, and I will get this character and convert it to ASCII, and we'll ask if this character it's equal to the character I'm asking for, and through that I will start to getting. I will ask, or the program will ask if the first letter of the version query it's A. If it's true, will appears, and we will get that data, and we will print it in our script. If it's not, then we'll go to the B, and then to the C, and then to the D, and so on through all the 94 characters printable, and so on. That's a blind search. That's a normal blind search. And what I'm getting here, it's the query, and then I go to the binary search. What do I do in the binary search? This is the algorithm step by step. What I have here, I have the bottom of the characters I'm going to ask, and the top one, 126, and there is a middle. And what I do here, it's that I have three options. One thing that could happen is that the first character, it's really the middle one. It's the character I'm asking for, the middle one. If it's found, okay, then I got the X, I got the character I'm asking for. If it's not, that means it will be false. I could go to the second question. If it's major, or it's greater than, or it's lower than. If it's if the middle character it's greater than the X, it means that the X probably it's in the first part of the array of the characters I'm going to ask, and then the middle one will become the new top. So I shorten the list that of data that I'm asking for. And the third option that could happen is that the middle, the X is greater than the mid. Then what could happen? Well, the X is in the lower, is in the right side, and the bottom, the middle will become the new bottom, and we are going to shorten. And after that, we will go to loop and go to the next character, and so on till we got all the 20 characters in this case for the version 1. What I do in my script, well, I started first including 2 injection strings. Why I do this? Because when you make an normal injection, you ask if the query you are asking it's equal to 1 character, a letter, a number, or whatever you are asking for. But in this case, you need to try not only if it's equal, you will need to know it's greater or lower than. So I create two injection strings, one that it's greater than and one that it's equal. And the difference in these two injection strings is that what do I do? Also, I make the two queries, but in different moments. The first one takes me to the first option, that it's that the middle character I am asking, it's exactly the data gives me a true answer. So I will keep the middle one. And the target 2 and the second query will give me a greater or a lower than. If it's true, that means that I will need to, well, I include a counter to count the quantity of queries I'm making, and the middle will become the new bottom, or the third option is that in the query that I'm asking, the data I have, it's greater than the character. No, it's false. Okay, it's false. I go to the third one, so the middle will go the new top, and that's how the script goes along through the query. This is more or less what we are asking for. When you start asking in a sequential search, it's the bottom part. You go the first letter, the second letter, the third letter, that's the fourth letter. When you go to binary search, you go to the middle and ask it's in what side it is, and you go on. What makes me this this approach, that I reduce considerable the steps I made to connect to the data and to dump the data. Well, let me try a last. Let me see what is happening. See what is happening with my lab. That will be a last shot. If we could get, oh, now we found the problem. Okay, I believe that will work. Okay, well, we are now on, and I have 2 minutes, so I will run. In the first script goes to the POC, and I go through the target, it's vulnerable, okay. Then I will go, okay, through the second script, the sequential search, and let's see how quick this goes. As you can see, I'm getting one letter at a time, one character at a time. What I'm getting, it's the version of the database. And it took 12 seconds and a half, and I made 58 requests. Let's see how much time and requests that the binary make. As you can see, it's a little bit quicker, and you see that it occurs in 3.6 seconds and 195 requests. You could see also in the verb, in the history, all the queries that are being made. As you can see, here appears the true query, and in the response, what I'm looking for appears in the 84 line, I believe, in the 85 line. This is the data I'm asking for in the response. You see, this is a 200 response. That's okay. The rest are failing till found a correct data, and goes on all through the database. Just to make sure that that's the data of the database, or that's the data we are asking for. This is the database we are attacking, and and here appears the correct version, that it's 10.1.26, and it's the same data that we are getting here from the SQL injection. Well, I'm finished. I'm already finished. Just two things to complement. First, well, some others existing methods. Well, the bisection method, it's the binary search, but there are other one that you could find in the wild. There are really interesting and probably more efficient, but well, that was not my first try. I go through this binary search. Well, there is not only one solution for each problem. Probably there will be people that will have a better Python Kung Fu and would get a better script, but that's the idea I propose. We can underestimate some programming theory just because it was only theoric, and it might be applicable to different situations. I'm conscious that the process that takes me to the result teaches me more than running a tool to do the same thing. Automated public tools might not work in every case, so it's useful to have some resources and sharpen your tools and knowledge. And that's it. And then I want to thank to the Lima Peru chapter. They encouraged me to make this chat. I was really worried if to do it or not. The language, it's technical. I believe that I was not sure if this could give value to you, but I hope you enjoy with all the problems we had in the process. Well, that's it. I have to share with you.